Sometimes grey in name only, the wolf can be almost black. And in the far north, its coat is often white. The hunt often begins with a rousing group howl. Howling notifies members of the group to gather. It also warns other wolves to keep off the pack's territory. Remarkably, nearby herds of prey seem to pay no attention to the haunting call to arms of the great predator. The body of the wolf is built for both endurance and speed. Unlike members of the cat family, who tend to ambush prey, the wolf is made for the long haul. Its limbs are long and sturdy, and its loping style of attack can play out over miles and hours. Powerfully muscled hind limbs provide bursts of speed of up to 45 kilometers per hour. While tough, non-retractile claws provide traction. Those big paws can splay out as the wolf runs, allowing it to run on the surface of crusted snow, while its victim's thin hooves crash through. The hunt itself is carefully coordinated, usually by one of the alpha pair, the older, more experienced hunters. Lower-ranking members of the pack take turns testing prey animals by sprinting after them, looking for any sign of weakness or fatigue, while others lope along, conserving energy for the final sprint. During the chase, predator and prey actually communicate with each other. This head-up, high-stepping trot is the elk's way of telling the wolf, "Look how strong and fit I am. I don't even need to gallop away from you, so don't bother coming after me." This gait is called stotting. Remarkably though, the wolves know when the elk are lying. Sensing vulnerability, they press their advantage and make the kill. Once a wolf latches on, powerful facial muscles go to work, holding 5-centimeter long canine teeth in a vice-like hold. Wolves have 42 teeth, all dedicated to the processing of meat. Specialized molars and premolars, called carnassials, have evolved to shear and mash flesh. Matters of hierarchy are strictly enforced during feeding time. The alpha pair feed first. Grey wolves can consume nearly 10 kilos of flesh at a sitting. But with a pack this size, it won't last long. And soon the synchronized killing will begin again. Next up, the wild dogs of Africa and Asia. Super social killers whose lethal ways have often remained a mystery to science, and whose bonds give new meaning to family values. And in a remote province of India, a shadowy canine becomes a suspect as a merciless man-eater. The grey wolf, beautiful, despised, worshipped and persecuted, is undeniably lethal. But it's just one of many wild canine species around the world that, in their ability to hunt in packs, have become icons of carnage. These are the running dogs, bringing with them death by numbers. They come in many shapes and colors. But what they have in common is in their skulls. Big, complex brains. And big brains require a lot of education. Wild dogs who live in packs are uncommonly devoted to their young. As with wolves, each pack is led by an alpha pair, usually the only ones who mate. But all of the members of the pack attend to the feeding and education of the pups. This may be because prolactin, a hormone found in nursing mothers, may soar in all members of the pack, male and female, making them all feel nurturing. At least this appears to be the case with wolves. Play helps puppies strengthen growing limbs and develop coordination, things they will need to be physically effective at the hunt. Often, wild dog parents and older siblings bring live animals home to the pups so they can practice their hunting skills. But play also teaches important social lessons, helping them come to terms with their place in the hierarchy of the pack. It's a long growing up period, and the scenes of puppy raising are universally touching. But all of this family bonding has a deadly end. What is being raised is a killer extraordinaire who knows his place and his purpose in the lethal engine of the hunt. In southern Africa, a river called the Okavango meanders into the Kalahari Desert, creating an enormous delta and a rare, almost untouched haven for wildlife. Here, one of the most colorful predators in the world makes its home. Like most wild canines, it's been labeled a threat, an evil thing, a blot upon the landscape. Its Latin name is Lycaon pictus, meaning painted wolf. A wolf it is not, but colorful it is, sporting a spectacular coat of black, white, tans and browns. No other wild canines bear such obvious markings. Most blend into their surroundings. The African wild dog stands out. These dogs are distinctive in other ways. Probably the most compulsively sociable of all the wild canids, the African wild dog is known to care for wounded or sick members of the pack, and every member, male and female alike, is eager to help bring food to pups. The pack is led by an alpha pair who tend to remain monogamous for life. They lead an extended family that may reach 30 or 40 individuals, all closely bound to the group. The hunt begins in ritualized fashion as the alpha male rouses the troops. Then they set out. About the size of German shepherds when fully grown, these wild dogs have several distinctive characteristics that testify to their ancient lineage. Their middle toes have fused, so they have only 4 per foot. They also have strong collarbones, which have all but disappeared in most modern dogs. Their strange markings, so different from those of other wild dogs, are probably related to their need to cooperate while hunting. Apparently, they have to recognize and keep track of each other at a distance on the open plains, and their odd markings are as distinctive as fingerprints. Leechway, a kind of antelope, flee before the well-coordinated pack. Long adapted to life in the swampy conditions of the Okavango Delta, the Leechway move with startling speed and grace through the water. But the dogs are relentless and eventually victorious. It's time to bring home the bacon. In this case, the alpha female is raising 2 broods, her own and one she has confiscated from a subordinate female. And feeding all these pups is a full-time job. She has as many as 14 teats, a record in the dog world rivaled only by a little wild dog on top of the world, the Arctic fox. The alpha female demands to be fed, and a returning hunter obligingly regurgitates a meal. The wild dog is Africa's supreme canine long-distance hunter. On the open plains of the Serengeti, where the dogs will tackle prey as large as wildebeest, patience, endurance, and cooperation are hallmarks of its killing ways. It takes teamwork to pull down such a large animal, so some of the wild dogs will try to hamstring it from behind, while others will attack the sensitive nose. Still others will slash at the animal's belly, trying to disembowel it. This is probably one of the reasons that the wild dog has been labeled a murderer and an abomination. But it's simply not built to suffocate its kills the way a big cat might. And once the prey is dead, the dogs are quite orderly. There's no fighting over the carcass. The painted wolf pack is a tight-knit group, with each member knowing his place in the pecking order from puppyhood. With the African wild dog, all for one and one for all is just another way of being, built for the kill. All across sub-Saharan Africa, the wide open plains play host to the great migrating herds. These are places where the canine specialty, teamwork, becomes especially lethal. And every year, the rolling grasslands of Tanzania play host to a classic high plains duel. During the wet season, Thomson's gazelles gather here to give birth. Well camouflaged to blend into the grass, the newborn antelope are surprisingly elusive prey. But they're hunted by one of the most fabled canines in the world. In the Middle East, the jackal was the face of the sly trickster of many stories. In ancient Egypt, it was Anubis, the god of the underworld. Even today, the word jackal brings to mind a legendary and deadly cunning. But the jackal is a family-oriented dog, generally monogamous, living in pairs, sometimes with the aid of a helper, a sibling from last year's litter who has stayed on to help raise the pups. Now that the Thomson's gazelles are giving birth, the time to hunt has come. Experience tells the jackals that female Tommies have young nearby. And the mother Tommy is torn between staying far enough away from her newborn's hiding place to keep from giving it away, and getting close enough to defend it, should the worst happen. But things are beyond her control already. The fawn breaks for it. The fawn is astoundingly fleet and agile for one so young. The mother Tommy runs a zigzag course in front of one jackal, hoping to lure it away from the chase. But the jackal's reputation for cleverness is not undeserved. He won't fall for the trick. Other Tommies join in the defense, but while one jackal takes flight, his mate attacks from the rear. She too is run off by the desperate Tommy mother. For a while, it looks like stalemate, but the jackals seem to sense that it's only a matter of time. Now they're tacked together, teeth showing and hackles up, and the Tommy mother gives way. It's a brutal end to the young Tommy's life. but a remarkably telling moment in the lives of these killers. While the female feeds, her mate goes off a few yards to keep watch. She's pregnant and needs the food more than he. She eats the first course, the most nutritious part of the carcass. Then the female jackal neatly divides the rest of the carcass in half, leaving the remainder for her devoted mate. For the jackal, working together clearly pays off. Studies show that jackals are 3 times as successful at hunting gazelle fawns when they operate in pairs as when they operate alone. Highly social wild dogs are not relegated to North America and Africa. One of the most social dogs on Earth lives elsewhere. This is India. Exotic, mysterious, home of the tiger, and the haunt of a red ghost. One of the most elusive and least understood canines in the world. It's the Asiatic wild dog, or dhole, and despite its size, about that of a medium domestic dog, the dhole is a killer not to be toyed with. In packs, it has been reported to kill leopards and even tigers. And through pack work, the dhole gets its tremendous strength and killing potential. But like its African counterpart, this wild dog cultivates its deadly ways in a world of canine kindness. Dholes have been filmed caring for a paralyzed pup for months after it would normally have died. Many a human disappearance was assigned to the packs of the red dog during the colonial era. But more recently, another wild dog of India became a suspect in a rash of deaths of children. In Uttar Pradesh in 1996, 76 children were attacked and 46 died. A horror committed by a mysterious man-eater. At its peak, the serial killer was taking a child every 3 days. In India, man-eating leopards and tigers are common. Hyenas and jackals too came under suspicion. But fur found at the scene of one of the crimes, examined under electron micrograph, didn't match the fur of leopards or tigers, or hyenas or jackals. It was wolf hair. This is the Indian wolf, a subspecies of the grey wolf found more commonly in North America and Europe. Where the pressures of human population have not overwhelmed the wilds, the Indian wolf's favorite food is the black buck antelope. Wolves are notoriously shy of humans, and records of wolf attacks are extremely rare. Even the villagers of Uttar Pradesh refuse to believe that wolves could have done it. But there were wolf prints and wolf hair at the scenes of the crimes. Wolves were shot and the killing stopped. In this poor place, human needs have largely driven out the wolf's normal prey. Here too, adults must pay careful attention to the whereabouts of their domestic animals, the family's livelihood, leaving children to mind themselves. perhaps a starving stray wolf and its pack stumbled upon one of these children and developed a deadly habit. Up next on Built for the Kill, the running dogs who kill in packs may be the most fearsome of predatory canines. But the most successful are often solitary hunters, assassins who kill with spectacular feats of acrobatics.
They enter murky waters with one goal in mind: to catch a giant catfish by using their bare hands as bait. Get ready for an unusual fishing competition, which involves no rod, no reel, but just hands, brains, and guts.
Bite, kick, scratch, I don't care.
And with a hefty grand prize on the line, the competition gets fierce. A new series, Mudcats, tonight at 9:35 on Nat Geo Wild.
The vision of quality and inclusive education grows stronger. Super achievers have walked down the corridor of knowledge, partnering with the leaders of education across the globe. Manav Rachna International University, Vidyantariksh, infinity of knowledge.
रुको रुको, वो जा रही है मेरी पतंग।
तू आगे दौड़ दनादन दनादन, तू पीछे छोड़ दनादन दनादन दनादन। भाग दनादन भाग दनादन भाग दनादन भाग 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 दनादन।
नया बजाज डिस्कवर 125।
जियो दनादन।
Did you brush two times?
Despite brushing regularly, doctor, my gums would still bleed.
And now?
Problem gone. See, no gum bleeding. Thank you, doctor.
Say thanks to Dabur Red Paste.
Because it has 13 Ayurvedic herbs that keep dental problems away.
Dabur Red Paste keeps dental problems away.
Dribbles, winning kicks, stunning reflexes, back heels.
Pierna derecha directo al arco, golazo,
This amazing land has always been full of natural-born talent. Let our wildest players introduce you to the Untamed Thrills. Destination Wild, Wild Untamed Brazil. Sunday night at 8:40 on Nat Geo Wild.